Amazing. Okay, I'm going to start admitting everybody else. So here we go. Hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Awesome.
Hi, everyone.
Good deal. Should I get started, Candace?
Yeah, you're probably good to go. Let's do it.
Okay, great. Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to Designathon, our final pitches event. Teams have been working, super hard, collaborating on new designs and thinking through some problems that are facing our city and our society, and we're really excited to share those with you. And we can't wait for you to listen in and to be a part of this really great event. Okay, next slide. So here's a little bit of breakdown for today's event. We're going to talk a little bit about the Designathon and introduce our judges, and then each team will be presenting. We have 5 teams that were selected during the week. We have Team Springboard, Team Riverbats, Team Boomerangs, Team Fab 5, and Team Oceans 8. And then the judges will deliberate for a little bit, and then we will have a winner at the very end, which is really exciting. So a little bit about Designathon. This has been a multi-part event where teams are competing to improve the outcomes of Austin's biggest challenges, which were set by the Designathon committee this year. This past Saturday, the teams had 2 to 3 minutes to pitch their initial concept to the committee. From there, the top 5 teams were selected based on their final pitch. And then Monday, teams regrouped to discuss their idea, and then also to meet with their design mentor, which is also members from the Designathon committee. And then today, teams will have 10 minutes to pitch their final project to our panel of celebrity judges. And then what are we winning, right? So we have a grand prize of $1,000 for the team to be distributed amongst the team. And then we have $250 in class credits per team member at General Assembly to further your design skills and technical skills.
And this is the committee under the capable leadership of Candace. We're very grateful for her guidance, as we all were new to this team from the very beginning. But I am Huli. I was fortunate enough to be the mentor for Team Fab 5. Alex, I'll kick it to you. Who'd you mentor?
I got to mentor the Boomerangs.
Boomerangs, nice. How about you, Elizabeth?
And I was working with the Riverbats.
Beautiful. And has Camilla joined us? Not quite yet. And Matt, and then Chantal, who joined us from Costa Rica to mentor another team. So we're pleased to have volunteered our time this week with such talented people, and we're excited to see what they have to present to you today. With this year's theme in mind, the committee put together a brief to challenge teams to rethink a simple but important concept, and that is trust. The design prompt that the teams worked with was, how might we leverage design to find common ground in a virtual society? Elizabeth, you want to take it from here?
Sure. So the judging criteria is based on how the project will impact the community, and also does it scale. So how it impacts Austin, smaller areas of Austin, the greater Austin area and beyond. Is it feasible? And also, is it equitable and accessible to all? And we have a wonderful panel of judges joining us today. We have Tammy Glass, Associate Professor and author of Prompt Socially Engaging Objects and Environments. We have Calvin Mays, a design thinking coach and principal at Cubicle Design, and Desiree Garcia, product design manager at Loom.
Yes.
Yay.
And they have different backgrounds than us, so you can really see them now.
And just a reminder, we have 10 minutes for each presentation and a tiny bit of wiggle room for Q&A. And we are going to kick it off. So the first team to present will be Team Springboard. You can take it away.
I'll just share my screen here.
Okay.
And I think, one moment, please. Yep, I think we are ready to go.
Okay.
Go
So-
ahead, and I'll start the timer when you're ready.
Okay, we're ready. So hey guys, we're Team Springboard, and our design is about building trust among small businesses through communication and collaboration. So why Austin, Texas? The reason why we're focusing on Austin, Texas is because Austin is the home to many small businesses. These small businesses are fighting to stay alive. While we see an overall decrease of employment rates by 35%, this affects a lot of families. 75% of independent restaurants are currently closed and will not survive, and 43% of businesses have temporarily closed. So in times of trouble, we as customers feel the responsibility to help these small businesses sustain and eventually overcome these tough times. As designers, we think it's a great opportunity to be a part of the solution and help small businesses. So the problem we are focusing on is how might small businesses trust one another and virtually collaborate to survive during these difficult times, especially with COVID going on?
Through our research, we have created the persona of Mark Vasquez. Mark is a small business owner of Let's Mex, an authentic Mexican restaurant located in Austin, Texas. He also has a wife and 3 kids. Mark is motivated to keep his business up and running, but due to COVID, he sees that his business is slowing down, and as a result, he's afraid that he won't be able to support his family. His pain points include limited budget and resources to deliver food to customers, employee reduction, and lack of trust communication among all small businesses in his community. He doesn't want to lose hope after investing so much time and energy into his business. Mark's goal is to find a way where small businesses can support each other to survive, especially during difficult times like COVID.
Our solution to Mark's situation is to create a mobile app called Back to Biz, aka B2B. This app enables small business owners to become agile during critical times. We focused on targeting the restaurant industry as it touches every element of the community and is seldom identified as a source of economic growth and development. For our indirect audience, we are aiming to bring together the customers and community at large through this application. We brainstormed multiple ideas to find the most optimal solutions. Through secondary research, we focused our MVPs on solving problems by submitting and finding requests, collaborating, and even dealing with employment issues.
Y'all can watch the recorded videos of our prototype on the right-hand side. So small businesses don't have to feel isolated from each other. They should be there for one another, hence the request feature. Business owners can ask for real-time assistance for delivery, volunteers, food supply, or restaurant food truck space from other small businesses in their community. First, in terms of highlights, in the homepage, business owners can see incoming requests from other businesses in their area and requests that were accepted. Secondly, business owners can create and submit a request whenever they need help. Lastly, in the map view, business owners can choose to see any type of request from other businesses around them.
The next app feature is collaboration. This will be an integral part to keeping the local community connected. With this feature, businesses are able to find local businesses in the area, match with others, view their profile, and ask to collaborate. You can do anything your business needs to reach new markets. This could be asking to create a new dish involving another business's specialty combined with yours, or asking to create a gift basket for the special holidays. We want to bring new experiences and the social way of connecting with others to the local community.
And then focusing on our employee exchange feature, during challenging times, a lot of small businesses are forced to reduce their working hours or let go of employees. So to help with this problem, we implemented a feature that allows store owners to refer former employees into a network amongst other small businesses. This feature would consist of putting up a recommendation bit, uploading the employees' resumes, contact information, and other small bits to maximize their hiring potential. So by doing this, we are providing a support system and increasing employees' chances of maintaining work. This feature also allows small businesses that want to support each other to hire workers if they are in need of employees within the network. You can also you can browse the employee exchange tab where you can openly see different workers from different job categories who are interested in taking up jobs. So ultimately, this feature creates an impact by enabling business owners to promote former employees within their networks while building and strengthening local communities.
So how does trust affect the business in a virtual setting and community at large? Having trust among one another is challenging, especially in the restaurant community. When businesses trust one another, they can collaborate better and seamlessly in this virtual environment. There's always new talent in the community, and they're great. Little did they know they had to put their dreams on pause in these challenging times, but trusting and collaborating with other businesses gives them a platform to showcase their talent, create a brand identity, and establish a customer base. So, how are we establishing trust within our application? Business IDs and certifications add a level of security, which validates trust between companies. They can also utilize a one time trial collaboration to see if this partnership can work. So, we conducted a couple of user testings. And we found that business owners really appreciated the idea of the application. They felt that our product would be helpful to them as they collaborate together, especially during these tough times. By establishing business partnerships, we start to build relationships, and through the employee exchange program, employees and employers feel mutually valued. In conclusion, our product brings together small businesses to collaborate virtually and create partnerships. It helps employees to find new places of work. It could be temporary or permanent. And we aspire to scale it to other business industries, cities, and expand our target audience. We see the potential of sister applications for more secure and targeted approach for the delivery sector and customer base. As we progress with the product development, we hope to establish a user base so customers can try our application. And after we get enough customers, we can move to a tiered subscription model to promote our premium features.
And to finish off our presentation, our team is super thankful for the opportunity and overall experience of participating in this design-a-thon. We came together as students of Springboard with the aim of designing as a team, and ultimately we are so proud of what we achieved in a matter of days. So thank you everyone for your time. And now I want to open the floor up to any questions.
Can I stop sharing?
Very good.
Great, y'all. Do we have any questions from our judges? You guys can just pop in.
I had one
about 2
very
minutes.
quick question. First of all, thank you so much for a very thoughtful presentation. There was one comment that said the star review system doesn't feel human. I was wondering if you could share, was that the employee exchange? Was it referring to that?
Yes, it was referring to that.
It was referring to that. So we did do a few user tests just to get a gauge on where we were going with the application. And that was something someone had mentioned. for one of the details for what we were imagining that would look like. So if this app were to move forward, that is something that we would rework and relook at, only because there might be some discrepancy there and about rating a potential employee, and things of that nature. Yeah.
Great. Thank you, Alexandra.
Curious to hear more about the employee's experience. So one thing that I noticed was it's very clear that something like this would help a person who is suddenly out of work. There's an aspect of the app where like the value that does sound like people might be traded back and forth for like players in sports teams. And I'm wondering kind of your thoughts on the experience of people who might, you know, not find their forever homes right away. They have to get a different gig.
Yeah, for this is in relation to the employee exchange, right? Yeah.
Yes.
In that aspect, we were focusing on, say, if you were Mark and you had a really good employee that you just couldn't sustain, but you did care about them, we wanted to give that employee an open space so that they had potential of getting hired from others if Mark couldn't sustain paying that employee. But he doesn't want to feel bad, just to let him go. So that way we're trying to add some sort of comfort system that Mark's employee will get referred through Mark into the small business network that we're creating, so that other small businesses who need employees can see that Mark is a recommended employee from Mark.
Yeah. Alternatively, there is a share in there that, for example, if he's just happens to be a waiter, he can be used for a catering event and then potentially be picked up by that catering business to continue working with them and finding his forever home in that kind of view. Yeah.
And I think with that, we're going to have to end this team's presentation. Just want to keep it fair for everybody else. So I think next we have Team Riverbats. Great job, Team Springboard. Really impressive. Okay, Team Riverbats, you can start whenever you'd like. You might be on mute.
All right. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Awesome. All right. Introducing Rocket, a new dashboard for kids in Austin ISD. I'm Amy Frazier of Team Riverbats, here with Cameron, Simone, Justin, and Tina. And I'm here to talk to you about Jaden. Jaden is 9 years old, a third grader at Hart Elementary School here in Austin. He's had a hard time switching to virtual learning since the pandemic. He's had a tough time finding daily tasks on Blend, and his parents, who work multiple jobs, just really don't have the time or energy to help. He lacks the focus and motivation to do his classwork at home and would prefer playing video games or sports. But most of all, he misses that he can't hang out with his friends during school hours. Jaden isn't just an anecdote. As of October 21st of this year, AISD's failure rate increased by 70%, which can be attributed to the pivot to remote learning necessary to combat COVID-19. This has led to stress and loss in common ground between students, parents, and teachers. So what about online learning is increasing the failure rate? This is Blend. It's an educational web app dashboard first developed by Canvas for college students that later expanded its services for K-12 students. As a former teacher, my colleagues and I felt that Blend was difficult to navigate since it wasn't very intuitive. Things just weren't where we thought they'd be. And destinations were buried in layers of clicks. And how to add content wasn't the clearest. This created low engagement for students and teachers. Aside from low engagement, we learned that young students also have a difficulty navigating Blend's buried content. The dashboard is divided into subjects, followed by yet another landing page. This has made it tricky for kids to locate assignments. Another problem is needing to use external tools. Not everything needed to teach is in Blend. We wanted to create a dashboard that increased engagement, brought the important contents from Blend to the surface, and merged all these tools into one application. Introducing Rocket. We're gamifying the learning experience with an API that puts teachers and students first. It flattens the information architecture of Blend into something accessible for young people. It merges separate tools into one user interface designed for kids, and it's designed to be accessible on a broad array of platforms, from Chromebooks to iPads. And now I'll hand it over to Justin.
Rocket is a novel program that has gamified the traditional student dashboard. Those who have played Minecraft, Fortnite, or had a conversation with a child who is hooked on gaming understand just how captivating it can be. So it's not surprising that over 350 million people across the globe are enjoying gaming as well. Now imagine if we could take the level of concentration and engagement required for gaming into the classroom. How powerful would that be for teachers and students? Gaming appeals to the human need for communication, self-expression, and achievement. The gaming approach is fundamental to Rocket. Gamifying your classroom not only increases student engagement, creates an environment where it's okay to fail early and fail often, it celebrates success, encourages teamwork, and finally, and maybe most importantly, motivates students to continue to learn outside of the classroom. But enough talking about how great Rocket is. Let's take a look at Jaden's workflow through the dashboard. It's 8:30 in the morning. Jaden is excited to jump up out of bed, run to his computer, log in early, and get some experience points before class. The first thing you will notice when you come to Jaden's dashboard is his customizable avatar. Every student can earn experience points, or XP, to personalize their avatar. XP is earned through attending class and completing assignments. Today is the day. Jaden is less than 100 points away from leveling up, where he can unlock some stuff he's been waiting on for 2 weeks. Jaden is eyeing this colorful clown hat, which is only available at level 9. Jaden takes a quick look up at the options available for points. He doesn't think he can knock out a journal entry before class starts, and it's not enough points to get him to level 9. He is really good at math, and he thinks he can complete the assignment before class, which is worth exactly the amount of points he needs to earn. With Rocket, assignments can easily be converted into games, like the one Jaden is getting ready to play, Snowball Fight. Jaden clicks on the start button to launch the teacher's assignment, which has automatically been gamified by Rocket software. While playing the game, he can click on Miss Honey and ask for help anytime. But Jaden is a pro, so he knocks the assignment out the park, collects his experience points and rewards. Now, there are 5 minutes left until science class, and Jaden is eager to show off his new gear. So he joins the classroom and gets ready to listen to Miss Honey. We found that some kids prefer to keep their cameras off for personal reasons rather than just avoiding work. With Rocket, it's not necessary to have your camera on. Virtual avatars help students gain confidence and restores a sense of community to the online classroom. While Jaden is enjoying his new learning experience, his parents can keep track of his learning progress through the password-protected parental portal. In the dashboard, parents can get real-time information on Jaden's attendance, how much homework he has completed, and the average time he has spent on various subjects. By simplifying how parents can track their child's progress, Jaden's parents will become more involved in his education. Rocket creates common ground between students, parents, and teachers, and will radically transform the online learning experience. Now here's Tina to talk about how we're going to do that.
Okay, so to do any of this, we'll need to partner with AISD, especially with their technology design team, to apply the plugin to students across the district. We're developing the plugin on the Blend platform to speed implementation and to save on costs. Schools will have the ability to update the dashboard to add school colors, mascots, and to display announcements, and these can easily be expanded to other school districts. We'll monitor areas where the platform is succeeding in engaging students and expand upon those features in the future as well. We believe that gamification will increase engagement, so ensuring our product is available to kids of all backgrounds is vital. To this point, we've kept kept graphics flat and simple to reduce load times in an unstable internet connection, and the schedule and games will be available for offline use. We'll address student isolation through the avatar chat feature. Here, students can engage each other by challenging peers to games, and to mitigate bullying without adding to teacher workload, the chat uses pre-populated messages. But this product will also have to be ready to serve students' needs as they return to in-person learning. Most relevant is our renovation of Blend's information architecture. Bringing elements like homework and projects to the forefront keeps students organized. Much like project management software, online organizational tools like this will have a place in the future of in-person learning. Since using Rocket, Jaden's grades have improved immensely, and he's also enjoyed spending time connecting with his friends on the Rocket chat room. When Jaden returns to campus, he and his teachers will have a valuable tool to keep him engaged and on task with his assignments. But much more importantly, the time he spent at home in the pandemic has not been lost, because he's improved his academic progress and developed friendships online. Through Rocket, we can bring kids here in Austin together, reduce feelings of isolation, and help them navigate education in a never-changing world. And thank you for your attention, and we'd like to take any questions. Thank you.
Great job. Judges, do you have any questions for the team?
Yeah, I got a quick one. What do you think your greatest barrier to entry into the Central Austin school market would be?
I guess buy-in from the district and maybe budget would be the biggest one, which is why we address that in the development.
I love the thought about how it might transition to post-pandemic. So really thinking about why it might benefit investing in this, because it's not just a short-term solution. I'm curious how you might be able to challenge students through the gamification so that they might not default to things that they're particularly good at, or so that they try to do something that's a little harder.
Yeah, so one way we've thought about combating that is one, creating like a holistic learning system. So all the points that they can receive through the game are still assignments that the teachers have to put out. So Rocket isn't there to recreate the teacher's assignments and make up its own assignments. All the assignments are created by the teacher, and the system would modify it into a game platform. So to gain their points, they still have to do their homework that the teacher's assigning and everything like that. Now, when they're with their friends, there may be some games they can play on the side, but the core of their missions are literally just another word for homework.
I like
that. Awesome.
Thank you.
Okay, time is up.
Okay.
And also, I just want to say, as these presentations are going and they're so well done, all of what you see is done, on, at no cost, on everyone's own time, on top of what everyone else has to do. So seriously, well done to everyone that's been a part of this effort here. Okay, so next we have Boomerangs. You are up. Let me know when you're ready, and I will start the timer.
All right, I think we are ready.
All right, go for it.
All right, hi there. We're Team Boomerangs, and this is the problem we explored over the last week. How can Austinites connect and make an impact locally? We believe that a key part of establishing a common ground and building trust is getting people more involved in their local community. So how might we do that? To explore these issues in a bit more depth, we conducted interviews with 4 Austin residents, as well as received survey responses from 8 more Austinites. And we got a lot of great feedback, but 3 main themes came out of it. The first one being, it's not easy to keep up with what's going on locally. Information is scattered all over the place and can be difficult to find. People are unsure where to start or where they can help out. There's a lot of groups out there and things going on, and it can be overwhelming to take that first step to get involved. And the last one being, there's just too much friction to get involved with the community and local governments, even if you are aware of what's out there today and how to get involved. You're dealing with clumsy websites, dense jargon, and potentially a significant time commitment. And Austin's seeing an average of 100 new residents moving to the city every day, and these issues are especially challenging for people who are new to town. We were also interested specifically in how people engage with online local platforms today, so we asked about how Austinites felt about Nextdoor, and we got some mixed responses about Nextdoor. We took the feedback from our interviews and surveys and came up with two personas. This is Elaine. She's 65 years old, a retired English teacher with 2 grown sons, and she's lived in Austin since 2013. Her goals here are to be able to give back, stay safe, find some connection, and stay informed. And this is Mateo. He's a 21-year-old college student. He moved to Austin for school. He's really interested in getting involved in his community, but at the same time, he wants to keep his focus on his education. He's working a part-time job as well, and he's a really busy guy. And he's really interested in learning about Austin and getting to know his new city. So using these personas, we came up with Front Porch. Take it away, Charisma.
Hey everyone, welcome to Front Porch, where everyone can be a helper. Our team built Front Porch on the premise that Austinites want a simplified and centralized platform for civic engagement and community involvement through a virtual society, one that is safe and inclusive, specifically one that builds safety by encouraging inclusive language and bringing together diverse populations that need help and want to connect. Front Porch was also created so that empathy building engagement can occur through volunteering and help create a common ground in our virtual society through language and communication bots. Our team is dismantling the race and class barriers by allowing all to participate and gently suggesting inclusive language through our chatbot. Our virtual rooms and survey algorithms match up community members who are best suited to help each other and even virtually connect and help each other out. We are also for an AI TaskRabbit that can pull together and simplify mundane administrative tasks. Our easily accessible screen readers make it easier for people to digest the information that they need by reading the text out loud. Our goal is to increase community engagement and civic involvement while bridging class divides. Welcome to Front Porch Austin, your one-stop shop for local information and community support. We'll go ahead and take you through an onboard right now. Take it away, Ellie.
Now that you've onboarded, an Austinite will come to this screen, the home screen, where they see the 4 sections which they can navigate through our Front Porch application. Local news, where there's an aggregator for Austinites on the local news. Town Square, their opportunity to learn what's being discussed on Town Council
and how to get involved, getting help where they have the ability to connect with other Austinites and get support with their daily needs or whatever's going on in life for them at the moment. And City Wiki, a set of tools and guides that allow people to navigate Austin, such as applying for a driver's license at the DMV. And here we have Mateo. Mateo, as you'll remember, is currently at school and he's applying to scholarships to help with his funding. Mateo signs up on to the Get Help within Front Porch and gets connected to Elaine. Elaine finds Mateo and is excited to offer her background as a retired English teacher to help Mateo achieve his scholarship. Moving on to the next slide, Mateo is also an avid bike rider, really enjoying exploring Austin through his bike. He's also really interested in public safety as a bike rider and wants to be more involved. He learns through our town square about Proposition B through Austin City Council and encourages all of his friends to vote for Proposition B and expand bike trails.
All right, so now that you've got an overview of how Front Porch works, let's talk about what's needed for success. So there are 3 pillars, so to speak. One is around curated content. And as we did our research around that, the city of Austin has an amazing amount of content. And we also found other sources like the Austin Common and Speak Up Austin. So it's amazing that there is so much content for Austinites, and it works out great for us where we can be their partners in terms of how it's curated and presented and made more accessible and navigable for people. Then there is an aspect of the technology that will power a platform such as this in terms of the aggregators, the chatbots, and some matching algorithms that we would need to get in place. And also ensuring all of this content is inclusive and accessible, just to make sure that we don't leave anyone behind. So the third aspect is around growing and nurturing a community. So we would want to engage city officials as well. That would also give some authenticity to the platform. And we'd also tap on these partner sites to grow our local resident base, because in a sense, our goals in terms of helping each other out kind of align across the different platforms as well. And finally, we would want to encourage the community to refer their friends and neighbors to make it an even stronger virtual community that would take Front Porch forward. So we use this as a learning ground in Austin, and we hope to learn, rinse, repeat in other cities from there in terms of feasibility and scalability. So wrapping up, why Front Porch? It really comes down to connecting people, connecting Austinites in our case, helping each other out. And through this experience of helping, we get to know each other and find common ground. And we also want to create an inclusive, safe space that has trusted information that is relevant to you, so that you don't waste time trying to figure out how things work as well. So that's what we've got for you today from the Boomerangs. Thank you so much. Thanks to the Design Week for having us.
Awesome job. We probably have about one question from the judges you'd like to ask the team.
I'll go, unless someone has something that's really burning for them. Otherwise, well, consider this. If there was only one thing that worked really well about your concept, you can tell yourself this, or you can share it with us. What would that feature be?
Who would like to speak?
I'd vote for kind of the bringing people together aspect, helping each other out to achieve a task together, because we were looking at how do we bring people together. So how do we didn't want to end up being kind of meetup or Facebook events, for example. So it was more rallying around these tasks and help people achieve certain outcomes in the process as well.
I would, Yeah, I agree. Through inclusive language like chatbots.
Great. Good deal. Thank you, Boomerangs. Well done. Fab 5, second to last. Let me know when you're ready and I'll start the timer. I already like the name.
Okay. Hello, my name is Teresa, and we are presenting our project Lasagna. This concept and name was inspired by the lasagna that a neighbor might bring over when times are tough. This project was done with a team of 5 UX designers, Rashida, Cynthia, Sandy, Allison, and myself, along with the valuable guidance of Huli. Austin Design Week's mission is to build an inclusive community that is the source of empowerment and inspiration. This year, they asked, how might we leverage design to find common ground in a virtual setting? With this design challenge, we decided to focus on solving for food insecurity. We used a Hills activity to start dreaming big as an aspirational goal to work towards. Our problem that we found is people often struggle to access sufficient healthy foods when they find themselves in need because they are unaware of opportunities in their community or afraid of the associated stigmas. Our solution is to provide a platform that allows community members to give and receive help in a natural way, to detach stigma and instead focus on the shared human experience of going through ups and downs. We crafted a game plan to provide structure to this design sprint, starting with discovery, analysis, design, and delivery. Our initial research found that 1 in 4 Austin households are considered food insecure, with 78% of the Austin population living paycheck to paycheck. 25% of those food insecure don't even qualify for federal assistance. We also found that each year, 450 million pounds of food is wasted in Austin alone, and shockingly, 45% is due to consumers overbuying. There's a lot of organizations and collectives providing services, but fragmented information makes it difficult to access. We also learned that access to ample food supplies and to a large enough volunteer force were the 2 biggest restraints they cited. This began to shed light on an opportunity for impact. We tested our assumptions with surveys and supplemental research. We found that many experienced periods of their life where they went to bed hungry. These users had never received social services due to confusion on how to apply, fear of stigmas, or even an underlying guilt that they shouldn't accept help because there are others in more dire need than they. Through this, we realized that you don't have to be historically in need to find yourself suddenly needing help. One user shared that people assume that because she owns a house that she's doing fine, yet she is swamped with bills. We also surveyed our would-be volunteers and discovered some pain points. We found that they had similar safety concerns as those in need, as well as they shared a unanimous willingness to volunteer, but struggled with the barriers to do so. Many people shared an interest in volunteering, but listed constraints due to schedules, location, timing, etc. We wanted to make volunteering as seamless and easy as possible to encourage giving. We saw there was an opportunity to provide a zip code-based solution, focusing on micro donations that brought the focus away from whether someone is in need and instead on ensuring food does not go to waste. Our research led us to ask, how might we design a solution for individuals who suddenly find themselves in a time of need while solving for social stigma, trust, and equity? And with that, I'll pass it on to Allison.
All right. I'd like to introduce you to Doreen. She is our main user. She's a 67-year-old woman who loved to volunteer, but recently lost her job due to COVID and is not sure how she will manage. With little funds and a predisposition to catching COVID, she is limited in how to afford or access healthy meals. She fears that she will run out of food stamps each month and has no relatives nearby. Doreen's situation is not uncommon and is what drove our design decisions. Now I'd like you to meet Amy Smith. She's a 36-year-old woman who lives alone. She would like to help out her community, but doesn't know how or where to begin safely. She has a hard time cooking for just one person and recognizes that she often lets food go to waste. This led us to what we aim to achieve: a pity-free but compassionate platform that allows people to receive food and distribute food, a platform that is accessible to all kinds of people irrespective of their age, employment status, and is inclusive to all diversities, as well as a platform that is reliable and safe to access food security from your community. We started ideating how this platform would work, doing a feature prioritization and a Crazy 8 exercise. This allowed us to draft some initial wireframes to be able to present our ideas and get some feedback from outside perspectives. This led us to some concerns that people had over COVID, safety with their food, general safety concerns with meeting strangers, and a fear of embarrassment. We address these issues with things such as a free certification to get a free food handler certification, including information that the CDC does not believe that food is a spreader of COVID, as well as allowing all profiles to give or receive, and that people are able to access identity verification information as well. We created a mobile-friendly website that allows people to see information on who we are, how it works, can we be trusted, and other resources available. We also created a user flow that shows the various pathways people can take for using our platform. We will show our prototype in a mobile view because we believe that that will be the primary use case. To start with, every user is given the opportunity to give or receive on any given day. In our case, Amy Smith is choosing to give because she's bought more food than she knows what to do with, making spaghetti and meatballs one night. So she's singing with the calendar view, which shows only a week, but shows all of the meals that she's planning on offering to other people. She's able to go in and set into a form what she's offering, when she's offering it, and how much, as well as any filters such as if the food is vegan, vegetarian, halal, and other. Doreen is able to go into the app and say that she needs to receive a meal. In her map view, she's able to see all of the different meals available near her and when they are, what they are, and how many are available. If she goes into the information on those meals, she can then see who is offering those meals, as well as instructions and details, and start a chat to discuss any further details. We did have a few missteps, specifically experiencing difficulty in finding users willing to do a one-on-one interview about this sensitive topic. We also did not get the chance to look at color accessibility, and is something we'd like to address for later on. Moving forward, there are continued reservations around the feelings of embarrassment and needing help when discussing something like food insecurity. Further iterations would focus heavily on verbiage and layout to ensure that the focus is a tight-knit community with a culture of sharing and not a platform that exposes vulnerabilities. We'd also want to do more usability testing and potentially down the line create an app that works hand in hand with the desktop application. Oh, goodness. We had so much fun with this design challenge and hope that our case study can impact Austin and beyond. From all of our team, thank you so much for this experience. We look forward to your feedback.
Nice job. Judges, questions?
I might have missed this, but how does the food get from one person to the other?
So our platform would allow people to get in contact with each other and set up either a meeting in a mutual neutral location, such as a park or a parking lot, or even delivery for someone who maybe is not able to get in and out of their home, or pickup if that's on the table.
Okay, great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, I have a question. I really like how you showed the process here because it makes it a lot easier to understand how you defined the problem and how you got to your solution. I'm curious to know what you think your biggest edge is. And so I can provide a prompt. So for example, if the prompt of this design-a-thon is about something about trust, right? How can we build trust in our community? You really hit out something that stood out to me, kind of like an ingredient. And when we get to trust in our relationships, you touched upon the idea of shame, the idea that people have a very hard time asking for help. What do you think is your biggest edge after all of this is over? Let's say everything solves itself, the pandemic is gone. How do you continue? What do you do next?
So one of the things we focused on was making sure that no single person was exclusively regarded into the needing or the giving category. And so some people might have an up and down cycle with their income or their food availability. And so they might be able to give a meal one week, but then next week they're just coming a little bit short.
It also puts the focus more on making sure food doesn't go to waste. So it's not that you're necessarily considering yourself in a better or worse situation. You just have food that would go bad otherwise, if it's like extra potatoes or too much lasagna, like whatever it is, and somebody can see and be like, hey, like, I'm down, I'll grab that.
We also wanted to put out the opportunity that, for example, I have friends who live alone, and if they were in a new city and didn't know people, maybe they would want to receive a meal just to have, you know, a distanced meal interacting with someone outside. Or maybe they're open to giving a meal in the same circumstances just to have a little bit of contact with people.
Awesome.
And in regards to the trust factor, we did also incorporate a way to get verified initially when you became registered, to give people that reassurance that it was a verified identification. And we also discussed the possibility of allowing people to only display their first name and last initial rather than a full name if they feared that they maybe had privacy concerns. So we did try to take a lot of these issues that would come to light into consideration in some of the features that we created.
Great. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and move on to the last team, Oceans 8. Let me know when you are ready to go, and we'll get started.
Sounds good. Sharing the screen now. Okay, and before we get started on that timer real quick, one of our teammates is, Kadeem, if you could share that Menti link. It's a survey that we'll get to, but we'd love to have everyone be ready to take it if it's accessible. So once that's shared over, we can go ahead and get started. Let's see. Okay, we can start now. Thank you so much.
You bet. Good luck.
Thank you. We're the Oceans 8 team, and we're really excited to talk to you today about our design, which focuses on connecting the disconnected. And I'd like to first introduce you to our team here. My name is Veronica, and I'll be starting off the presentation, and you'll get to hear from some of my teammates today as well. So to begin our design journey, let's start off by taking this quick survey to see the general consensus regarding loneliness during this time. So I was curious with y'all. Oh, wow, you guys are quick. Okay, just my first question was that we wanted to see if during this time of COVID, if people have suffered from loneliness. And it looks like it's still coming in, but it looks like a majority of us has said yes, and that we've suffered from loneliness during this time of COVID. So now I was curious on how have you guys coped with this loneliness? And voting has now been open. And I was curious of what have you guys done to kind of really assuage your feeling of loneliness and to help mediate that? Well, calling your mom, family, Zoom with friends, make art, drink. Okay, yeah, hey, I hear you. Drink, eat, alcohol can be friends sometimes. Gym, okay. Video games, sounds good. Ooh, this is coming in. I'm loving these answers, y'all. Streaming on Twitch. So it sounds like we are really connecting with people, and we are trying to find ways to really cope with this loneliness. And I wanted to focus on loneliness because loneliness affects our mental health, which inevitably takes a toll on our physical health. And when we focus on this quote right here from a PhD professor in psychiatry and behavioral neuroscience, it says the misery and suffering caused by chronic loneliness are very real and warrant attention. And as social species, we are accountable to help our lonely children, parents, neighbors, and even strangers in the same way we would treat ourselves. And she believes that treating loneliness is not just our responsibility, but our whole collective responsibility. And that leads us to think, at this time in the midst of the pandemic, loneliness is more of a problem now more than ever. And when we look at Texas, Texas is the state with the most COVID cases and the second most deaths due to COVID. And when we look closer, the CDC has discovered that 8 out of 10 COVID deaths in the US are adults 65 and plus years old, showing that it's affecting the elderly very specifically. And looking at the elderly situations in a closer level, we found that only 35% of nursing home facilities allow visitation during COVID. That means 65% have stopped visitation, resulting in isolation and loneliness for the elderly. And studies and experience have found that family involvement is crucial for improving this quality of care for the elderly residents. Because based on the statistics from this Cox Proportional Hazards Model, loneliness is associated with increased risk of dementia. And this is a 40% increased risk of dementia. And loneliness happens to be a modifiable factor that can be intervened to reduce this risk. So I wanted to hand it off to Dan because we've looked at the research and now we want to look at the emotional journey that this loneliness has caused us.
Thank you, Veronica. So here I'm going to introduce you all to our mother-daughter duo. On the left, we see Danielle. She's healthy, but she's currently staying in a nursing home just to get a little bit of extra care. On the right, we see Lori. She is a busy working mom, but she still likes to make time for her own mom, Danielle. So she will occasionally stop by on her way home from work to visit Danielle. But since COVID, her life has gotten a little bit more hectic and these visits aren't so easy anymore. So we want to look into what they're currently dealing with. The current situation is, here we see there's 3 players. There's Danielle, Lori, who we just met, and the nurse sitting between them. This whole process starts with Danielle. So it's been a while since Lori has actually checked in with her, and Danielle's starting to feel a little bit lonely, also leading to a decline in her physical health. In fact, some days, she doesn't even feel like getting out of bed. So eventually, her nurse notices her declining mental and physical health, so she goes out and calls Lori to let her know that Danielle hasn't been doing so well. Alarmed and realizing she'd forgotten to check in recently, Lori goes out, calls Danielle, and sends over some virtual love. But this highlights a problem in our current system in that it's a cycle that ends with Lori and Danielle connecting, yes, but the cycle is a bit backwards. It's reactive and it essentially waits for there to be a problem before it actually kicks into gear. So when we got into ideating, we looked into minimizing the part that the nurse actually has to play in this inefficient process, essentially trying to remove the middleman. We imagined Danielle directly contacting Lori, but we quickly realized that while this did remove that one step in the process, it was still fairly reactive in nature and actually left the responsibility of connecting in Danielle's hands. So we pivoted and thought instead, let's empower Lori to initiate this contact, now effectively creating a proactive system that looks to prevent Danielle's loneliness in the first place. So I'll pass it over to Alexis, who will walk you through what the solution looks like.
Thanks, Dan. So during these trying times, we may be apart, but we don't have to be alone. To reinvigorate Lori and Danielle's relationship, we created Roots, a mobile application to help nurture disconnected relationships through simple reminders. When Lori first opens the application, she inputs her and her mother's information. Then she's able to set up reminders that are most convenient to her busy life. In this situation, we show her that she's got more free time in the morning, she wants to connect with her mother 4 times a week, and she sets an alarm for 7:30 a.m. We also give her the option to sync up with her digital calendar. Once she's completed the onboarding process, Lori receives her first achievement badge. Though our app's goal is to relieve Danielle's loneliness, we want to encourage Lori to stay consistent in her efforts by giving her instant gratification. A good habit is formed when someone can see their process. So we created a timeline page for Lori to view how often she had reached out to her mom, her collection of achievements, and what items she's shared in the past. Over time, Lori may run out of ideas of her own. So to inspire her, we showcase prompts such as past memories and conversation suggestions on the home screen to alleviate those efforts. With her app, Danielle has a stronger bond with her daughter, and Lori is more active in her mother's life. And because of this bond, Danielle no longer feels alone. Now that I've covered our prototype, I'm going to pass it back to Dan to cover our implementation.
So in terms of going forward, we first want to look at really validating some of these design decisions that we made and making sure that we're really addressing our users' needs. The plan there is to contact local nursing homes in Austin that we think could really help us get a source for beta participants for this app. Once we have that more robust design, the thought is to reach out to some of the organizations that you are seeing here on your screen. And we think that they could really help us in supporting and with funding and implementation going forward. Following that, we want to be able to really concretely evaluate our success in the market, and we want to do this by leveraging Google's Heart Goals framework, through which we can measure a few things. We want to focus in on happiness, adoption, and retention for our solution. Now, I'll hand it over to Veronica to discuss our vision and the bigger picture.
Thanks, Dan. So for the future goals, we had in mind to build out Danielle's side of the UI, so the grandmother that lived in the nursing home, and fleshing out some possible features for her that will empower her to contact with her daughter, Lori, but also to become more technological literate. We hope this app will help with combating loneliness by inspiring and gently reminding people to reach out to loved ones, to connect, but not replacing or getting in the way of that human connection itself. And we hope that this app can extend beyond just remembering our seniors, but also remembering our loved ones, as loneliness and compassion are universal feelings that we as people have. So we'd like to open up now for questions, and thank you so much for your time.
Great job, guys. Judges, questions?
I guess I could share some.
Or comments.
Yeah, just the comments. And I know this only took us about a week to get it done, so it was very sprinty. But I thought everything was really well done, and it makes you think a little bit more. I'm currently on a couple of projects that are about designing for equity in some really tight spots. Mm-hmm. And I can't help but think of these projects and consider my experience with those projects. And I would just like to impart on all of us that, you know, although we say that we're building inclusive for all diversities, you know, we want to really ask ourselves, how do we truly express the successful demonstration of equity and inclusivity? And then how do we design for someone to experience that experience?
Yeah. Tammy and Desiree, do you have any other comments or just things you noticed, takeaways before we go and deliberate?
Lots of work went into these, I can tell. And clearly great team dynamics as you put all of these together. I've really enjoyed the presentations. You have made our job not very easy to select a winner.
Awesome.
So true.
Yeah, these guys, I am so impressed by, you know, all of these, and everybody really showed very different strengths and just obviously a lot of work in all of these. So we can't thank you guys enough. I want to do a quick, everybody can unmute themselves. I want to do a quick round of applause for everybody who competed. These are also our finalists, so we had even more than that. So let's give them a round of applause. Thank you guys. Amazing. So I'm going to go ahead and put our judges in a breakout room now so that they will be able to deliberate for the next about 15 minutes. Hopefully they'll be able to get it done. We're right on time, which is amazing. Perfect. Okay, great. So judges, just ping me if you have any trouble getting in there. While they're doing that, you've got a couple options. One is you guys can go off camera and take a bathroom break, get yourself some water, go breathe, shake it off, whatever you want to do. Otherwise, we have a collaborative, fun little game that we can play, that we can all play together while we're waiting for the judges to deliberate. And we'll come back together here by the 4:50. 4:50. I think that's it. Yeah. Cool. I'll play some music in the meantime. How's that sound? I put it on a radio. We'll see how it goes.
Rolling around like two warm animals. Yeah, I hope that you feel the same way. Yeah, I hope that you feel the same way. How much should I be reading into? The way you look at me in your room. And I know that nothing's really permanent. I hope that this doesn't end soon. Yeah, I hope that this doesn't end soon. Ooh, and it feels like it's today that it ain't right. And when it feels like, oh my God, you know it feels right. Ooh, and it feels like it's today that it ain't right. And when it feels like, I like the way you say my name, babe. Yeah, I like the way you say my name, babe. I like the way you say my name, babe. Yeah, I like the way you say my name, babe. Yeah, I like the way you say my name, babe. Oh, I like the way you say my name, babe. Ooh, it feels like it's today that it ain't right. the black and white, dark days in the summer, a million ways to toe the line. Can't wait, holy other, might as well be the seventh sign. Ooh, it goes hand in hand with fear for the afterlife. Ooh, how can we fight it, we don't even know why. While the dollar is strong, while nobody else relies, when they turn the corner, when you know we're out of sight, dark days in the summer, in the rain, the water's fine. It was wild combination, either that or right down the line. Ooh, it goes hand in hand with fear for the afterlife. Ooh, how can we fight it, we don't even know why. I'm lost in the light, I pray for the night. Take me to take you to. After so many words, still nothing's heard. Don't know what we should do. So if someone could see me now, let them see you. Was my greatest thrill, we just stood still. Let me hold your hand till I had my fill. Even counting sheep don't help me sleep. I just toss and turn right there beside you. So if someone could help me now, they'd help you too. They help you to see you through all the hard things we've all gotta do. 'Cause this life is long, and so you wouldn't be wrong. Being free, leaving me on I held my own, still I rattled your bones. I said some awful things and I take them back. We would try again. Just remember when, before we were lovers, I swear we were friends. So someone could see me now, let them see you. Let them see you, see you through. All the hard things we all gotta do. This life is long, so you wouldn't be wrong. Being free, living me all some evil spirit or some evil is welcome. They told me how to fear it, now they're placing it on their tongues. Oh, to see it with my own eyes. Oh, to see it with my own eyes.
All right, everyone, we are coming back here soon. I have heard word that we have a decision from the judges. So we will start this in just one more minute when I told everybody to come back, but just wanted everybody to know, be ready, it's happening. All right. Do we have our judges back?
We are here.
Amazing. All right. I'm turning it over to you, Tammy Glass, as our foreman of the jury over there.
Well, I'd like to say thank you to my colleagues and fellow judges. As I mentioned before, going into the pause there for us to deliberate, this was not an easy easy decision, and it's probably the hardest thing I've done definitely in a few days. So we want to say that the proposals were fantastic. We know that you had a very short time to do this, and very thorough and extremely, extremely thoughtful and considerate proposals. But we do have to have a winner today. And so today we would like to announce Riverbats and Rocket as the winner for the cash prize and also for the class credits. Congratulations, you did a phenomenal job. Yeah, we should give all of them some applause. And we definitely want to encourage everyone who competed this week to come back and do this again next year. And phenomenal work. Thank you all so much for caring for our city and wanting to do something amazing and building trust in our communities.
All right, Alex is going to close us out, I think. Thank you to our amazing judges, by the way. We really appreciate you all for giving your time to be a part of this, and hope that we get to have you back again.
Thanks for the invitation.
So on that train of thanking everyone, we want to thank obviously General Assembly for providing us part of our grand prize today, as well as all the teams who participated both in the initial pitch and tonight, and all the volunteers and organizers who helped bring this thing to life. So thank you guys for being a part of Designathon 2020, and we'll see you at the closing concert tonight with Mobley. Also, I've been to a show in real life and it's a good time, so you should definitely go to that. Okay, cool.
Bye guys, thank you.
Bye everyone.
Can I ask a